Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Our mission today, well, it feels pretty high stakes. We're digging deep into the French national team's prep for the November internationals. And it's not just the usual build-up.
No, not
We're
banana.
looking at, honestly, a perfect storm brewing. You've got this huge injury crisis hitting right as they face that massive, emotionally charged game against the Springboks.
Yeah, the tension is definitely there.
Right.
And the sources we're drawing on, they really center around Fabien Galthié's upcoming squad announcement. It paints a picture that's, well, worrying, but also pretty fascinating for France right now.
Absolutely. How do you even pick a 42-man squad when so many key players are out?
Exactly. It's a massive headache.
And look, if you rely on us for this kind of strategic insight, not just for France, but for rugby all over the globe, make sure you hit subscribe on Rugby Obsession. It's the best way to stay informed.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's get into it. The headline number here, it's kind of jaw-dropping.
It really is. So
Yeah.
Galthié's about to name this big 42-man squad, right?
Yeah.
But he's doing it knowing that 17 frontline players are unavailable.
17. That's practically a whole starting team and bench.
Pretty much. It's not just normal wear and tear. This is significant chunk of his established talent pool just gone before a ball is kicked.
And the timing couldn't be worse, really. Yeah. It's all happening just as they're building up to that, well, let's call it what it is, that grudge match against South Africa.
Mm-hmm. The first meeting since that quarterfinal at the World Cup last year.
Exactly. The one that broke French hearts. So the emotional heat is already turned way up, and Galthié's trying to plug all these holes while gearing up for, basically, a battle.
And, tactically, losing 17 guys. It's seismic. We need to think beyond just the names. It's about what capabilities France has suddenly lost on the field.
So where's the damage most severe? Looking through the info, it seems like certain areas are just decimated.
Yeah, the forward pack, particularly the front row, is where you see the biggest strategic problem, I think. French rugby is built on that scrum power, right?
Traditionally, yes.
Well, they're missing 4 experienced tight head props. 4. Uini Antonio, Tavita Tatafu, Sipli Filatea, and Paul Meles.
Wow. Losing one is bad enough for stability.
Exactly. Losing 4. It fundamentally changes how you have to approach the set piece. That reliable penalty source from scrum pressure, it's suddenly not guaranteed. That's a core part of their strategy, potentially off the table.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And heading towards a clash with the Balkas, even if it's not the first game up, lacking that scrum authority. That's a psychological blow too, isn't it?
Huge. But is it the biggest risk? You could argue the spine of the team lineout callers, halfbacks losing depth there, is maybe even more critical systemically.
Okay, fair point. So the damage continues beyond the front row.
Oh, yeah. They're also, without hooker, Pito Movaka, huge work rate, great carrier.
Right.
Plus locks Matthias Halagahu and Josh Brennan. And there's still a question mark over Francois Cross, the flanker, after that knee injury he picked up with Toulouse.
So it's not just about missing bodies, it's about losing leaders in the lineout, specialists at the breakdown.
Precisely. Key functional roles.
Then the halfbacks. This seems like a major headache. We knew Antoine Dupont, the captain, was out, still recovering from that awful injury.
Yeah, that was expected.
But now, the backups are gone too. Maxime Luker and Baptiste Couillot also sidelined?
That's it. You're a number 1 general, your experienced backup who knows the system, and your versatile cover. All unavailable at number 9.
Luca's absence feels particularly damaging right now, doesn't it, given his Six Nations performance?
Absolutely. He stepped into Dupont's massive shoes, didn't he? And helped steer them to the title. He's proven at that top level.
Yeah, he was excellent.
But the word is, this Springboks game is just coming a bit too soon for his recovery.
So Galthié's hand is forced. He has to turn to the next generation immediately. Who's likely to get the nod?
Well, it points towards the youngsters. Nolan Legaric and Baptiste Chanot, both really talented, both toured New Zealand, so they have some familiarity.
Okay, so not completely cold.
Not completely, but moving from being on tour to actually running the show in a high-pressure November series, especially with this box game looming. That's a massive step up. They need to be decision makers from the get-go.
And just to round out the casualty list in the backs, Louis Lebrun, who covers fly half and fullback, he's out. And wingers or outside backs, Theo Adesogbe, Gavin Villiers, Romain Burrows, also injured.
It just highlights the lack of depth this creates. Galthié can't really rotate much. The guys he picks in that 42, they have to be ready to go pretty much immediately.
It's less about picking the ideal squad and more about who's actually fit to play.
Mandatory deployment, as you said.
Yeah. Okay, let's shift focus a bit. We've got the physical toll, the depleted depth chart, but there's this huge psychological weight hanging over the team, too.
Definitely.
We know Dupont is recovering, aiming for mid-November, but wisely, they won't rush him back for the Box game.
Sensible.
So if Dupont is the tactical brain, you could argue the emotional heart of this particular grudge match, well, it lies in the midfield, doesn't it?
Right.
Especially with Jonathan Danty.
Absolutely. Danny embodies that lingering tension, even though he's injured now too and won't play in this series.
Right, him and Yormo Fana both out in the centers as well.
Exactly. But Danty's comments recently, they've really brought that feeling about the World Cup loss back to the surface. He's become the voice for that sense of injustice, maybe, that the French team felt.
And it's personal for him, isn't it? Particularly with Pieter-Steph du Toit. It goes back further than just the World Cup.
That's right. Goes back to 2021. Du Toit got a red card then for a head-on-head hit on Danty.
I remember that.
And Danty's point, his feeling, is that something very, very similar happened in that World Cup quarterfinal last year. Another reckless challenge. But this time, no penalty, no card.
And for Danty, that must have felt like a double standard on the biggest stage possible.
Exactly. History repeating itself, but with potentially game-changing consequences and no recourse. The intensity comes through in what he said.
Yeah, that quote was something else. Really drew a line.
He was completely clear. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Having a drink with Pieter-Steph du Toit in 10 years. No way."
Wow.
That tells you everything, doesn't it? This isn't just disappointment about losing. It's deep personal antagonism. That's the feeling some players might carry into this match.
He also brought up that social media post from Eben Edsmith, didn't he? The goalkeeper save comment after the quarterfinal?
Yeah, that didn't go down well at all in the French camp. Perceived as mocking, maybe even suggesting the Bokes got lucky or benefited from calls.
Right.
Danty sort of framed it, saying these are bad memories, things that remain rather negative, but also, interestingly, part of the failures that allowed me to build myself and grow. So there's resilience there too.
But that underlying sense of grievance, of needing to right a perceived wrong, that seems like a powerful motivator now for the whole squad, even with Danty injured.
It absolutely fuels the fire. And look, as this whole narrative unfolds, the injuries, the emotion, France's path forward, you need to stay across it. Subscribing to Rugby Obsession is the best way to get our analysis on this and all the big global rugby events. Make sure you hit that button.
So let's pull these threads together. The injury crisis, the simmering emotion. What's the actual task facing Galthié in the coming weeks? It sounds almost impossible.
It's immense. Yes, there's the massive Springboks game loaded with emotion, but before that, he's got Fiji and Australia. High-pressure games in their own right.
And he has to navigate those while essentially replacing the core of his team. 17 key players missing.
So this deep dive is crucial because Galthié isn't just trying to win 3 individual matches. He's forced to rebuild a winning system, find new leaders, test combinations, all under intense public scrutiny.
Right. So the Fiji and Australia games become more than just warm-ups.
Oh, much more. They're mandatory proving grounds. Against Fiji, you'd imagine he'll be desperate to see how the new front row holds up physically. Can they handle that power? Can the new locks run the line out effectively? He needs to find leaders in that pack fast.
And Australia, a different challenge.
Totally different. More about tactical shape, maybe defense, managing the game. That's where he has to test the new scrum halves, Legaric and Jeannot, see how they cope. Who can offer that control before they face the sheer intensity the Boks bring? These aren't just games. They're live system trials.
It's fascinating. It's a rare chance for us, and for you listening, to see a top-level coaching team have to adapt in real time under extreme pressure.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you maintain your principles when maybe 40% of your first-choice talent just isn't there? It's a massive puzzle, and the solutions they find could shape this French team for years.
Forces innovation, doesn't it? That's why Galthié earns the big bucks, I suppose.
We really want to know what you think about all this. Given these massive injury lists, especially in key spots like tight head and scrum half, who do you think steps up for France? Who becomes that unexpected hero?
Good question.
And on the emotional side, Danty's comments, that very public grudge. Does that actually help France? Does it galvanize the team, give them focus? Or is it maybe a distraction, something that could make them play on emotion rather than executing a plan? Let us know your thoughts.
That question about motivation, it leads perfectly into a final thought, maybe something a bit provocative. We mentioned Maxime Lucas stepping up before, right? Filling that huge gap left by Dupont in the Six Nations, and they won the title.
Yeah, a crisis created an opportunity he grabbed.
Exactly. So while this injury list is undeniably a crisis, a huge challenge,
Hmm.
could forcing Galthié's hand, now making him Ludwig and Jano under
Yeah.
this intense pressure, actually lead to an unexpected positive outcome long term? Necessity being the mother of invention. Sometimes injuries force you to find gems you might have otherwise kept on the bench. Could this crisis accidentally fast-track the next generation?
That's a really interesting angle, finding silver linings in a very cloudy situation. Something to definitely chew on as we wait for that squad announcement. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we will look forward to you listening to our next episode.
Cheers.
And remember, for all the breaking news on squads like this, the deep strategic analysis, and just keeping your finger on the pulse of World Rugby, hit subscribe to Rugby Obsession now. Stay ahead of the game with us.